Hello friends, it's Lex at LexReads, and today we're starting a new series. So for a minute, I've been thinking about doing a series where I reread some of my old favorite books, like my old school OG faves, and then vlogging the experience and then talking about them after and seeing if I still feel the same and stuff like that. And what better book to start with than Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. It has been a hot minute since I read this book. And to be honest, I'm kind of nervous that I'm not going to like it as much as I used to because there's so much sentimental value. So this is my intro. This is all I'm going to say for this. The next however many minutes are going to be vlog style. I'm going to be interjecting in the midst of the book and telling you what I think, telling you how I feel, and then at the end I will sit down and do a wrap up where I talk about how I feel about the book, what my rating is, whether or not it's changed since I was a youngin', and then I also am going to answer the discussion questions in the back of the book because I think that'll be fun. And if you're just interested in the sit down part, this is the timestamp for that. So alright, let's just do it. We're just gonna do it. So I made it a total of 4 pages in and had to stop and shake my head because Bella is the most dramatic bitch in the world. Bella, my mom said for the last of 1,000th time, she's not dying. You talk to her on the phone. I wasn't allowed to call him Charlie to his face as a mood because I too call every real adult in my life by their first name, but in my head mostly. The fact that they shock each other when they touch, that ain't it. I am never going to get over the wasting of finite resources is everyone's business line, because he's right, but the context in which he says it is, to quote him, utterly absurd. Also, I'm never gonna get over the fact that Stephanie Meyer was like, what's a sexy car? A silver Volvo. These books are insane. These movies did a god-awful job of highlighting the casual absurdity of both of these characters. Also, why does anyone ever think that Bella is boring? I love Bella. I think Bella is a great protagonist. She's sassy, but it's in her head, and I respect that because I'm also kind of that way. And Edward is just the worst in so many ways, and I love him. I wish the movies had left in the scene that I'm reading right now where he's sitting alone at lunch and they make eye contact and he's like, come here, and then he's like, it's just so wild. This is different. I finally managed. Wow, he paused, and then the rest of his words followed in a rush. I decided as long as I was going to hell, I might as well do it thoroughly. They're so dramatic, I love them. Is there a reason that he's gotta vague post everything? He's sitting there thank you for eating lunch with me. I'm a bad friend. We shouldn't talk. You're bad for me. And she's like, I have no idea what anything you're saying means. And he's like, oh, I'm counting on that. Why is he like that? Oh my god, could he be any worse? Probably. He could be worse, but oh my god, he's insane. Okay, I understand that Edward is possessive and realistically in the real world probably would be a garbage boyfriend. That being said, I love him. He's so sassy. In movie Edward, Robert Pattinson did great with the scripts he was given, but the scripts did not do Edward justice because he's so funny. Would I have dated Edward? Yeah. So the plan was to read 100 pages, which is where I'm at. I'm at 108 pages. And then stop for the night. I'm gonna keep going though. Oh god, it's just so trash and I just love it so much. I don't know if I'm ever gonna stop loving Twilight in my heart of hearts. gonna keep going. Maybe I'll get to maybe I'll try to do half of it tonight. So it's almost 500 pages. I think it's right under 500. I think it's 480 something or something like that. So maybe I'll try to get to 200 or 250 pages, and then maybe I'll finish it tomorrow. Yo, I forgot that in the book she just straight up flirts with Jacob to get him to tell her about the Cullens. Oh, it's so funny. Honestly, Bella being able to be I can't go out with you on a date, Mike, because it would hurt Jessica's feelings. Don't be a dipshit. It's the most convenient out ever. I would be score, thank God my friend likes my other friend so I don't have to deal with it. Okay, first of all, do you guys always think that Jess and Angela think that they met on purpose? Because I always got that vibe that Jess and Angela leave and they're bitch planned to meet Edward all along. And also Bella's so bold. She's out here usually you're in a better mood when you don't have black eyes. And he's This restaurant scene, though, is one of my favorite scenes in the book. I love when they're talking about mind reading and Bella's all. So, if someone could, read minds, hypothetically, and then Edward, with a few exceptions, and Edward's one exception, hypothetically. I love it. When Edward's let's not try for 3 on the times he saved her life, I'm oh honey, you've got a storm coming, because you have over half of one book and then 3 more, during which you're basically just saving her life a whole lot, except for a New Moon when she saves his. It's a whole thing. I don't know. I would like to add the car scene as an extension of the diner scene, or maybe they're just two of my favorite scenes in the book. But God, the car scene is also so good. I love how offended he is when she's it doesn't matter. He's it doesn't matter, and she's well, am I right? And he's does it matter? And she's no, I guess not. Fuck. About 3 things I was absolutely positive. First, Edward was a vampire. Second, there was a part of him, and I didn't know how potent that part might be, that thirsted for my blood. And third, I was unconditionally and irrevocably in love with him. Iconic. I have good intuition. Jessica does ask, not Jessica, Angela, Jessica? I think it's Jessica. I don't know. It's hard for me to keep them straight. Jessica did ask if he had asked her, if she had asked him to meet her there. Wow, words are hard. It's really late. It's 1 a.m. Alright, it's gotta be bedtime now. Oh. Alright, well, I'm not really that tired. If I don't stop now, I'm going to read the whole book. So, we're gonna put a pin in that for tomorrow. I'm on page 236. So I'm getting there. And, yeah, we'll pick on up tomorrow. This part of the meadow scene is so dramatic, where he's running around, he's as if you could outrun me, as if you could fight me off. Calm down, bitch. That's how I feel about the whole insta-love, it's nice to hear all the same. I love you. You're my life now. What? Gross. Is it even possible to look utterly indecent in a khaki skirt? I don't think it is. I would die for Alice Cullen. I love her. With my whole heart. Okay. So we did it. It's done. Y'all, okay. So I think, first of all, I'm gonna get one thing straight. I think Twilight gets a bad rep. I don't think it deserves it. I don't think it's objectively the best book that I've ever read. Technically, story structure, blah, blah, there isn't, plot until the last, 250 pages or so. But that being said, it's engaging, it's fun, it's insta-love, cutesy, teen romance, and there's vampires. How can you hate it? I don't hate it. So when I first read it when I was 10 or 11. I was young. But the thing is, when I read it at 11, I was engrossed, I was obsessed, I read them all. I started reading them right after the movie was released, but I didn't watch the movie until after I read the book. You can tell that I bought it after the movie was released because I own the copy that has the movie poster, which, not my fave thing in the world. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, and I did update it on Goodreads to be 4 out of 5 stars. That's a damn good rating. It's a pretty good book, and I really enjoyed it. I think I'm going to make an entire video in defense of Bella Swan, because hot take, Bella Swan might be my favorite character in the series. When I was younger, it was Alice. It was Alice and then Edward, and I don't know where Bella fell, probably pretty low. But now, as an adult looking back, I love Bella as a protagonist. And I think Book Edward is so funny. He's so sassy and dramatic, and honestly, we kind of stan. Good book, good characters. I don't like that it's really insta-lovey. That's my only qualm, is I'm not a super, super, super huge fan of insta-love. But it just feels like insta-love because there's time gaps. They knew each other for, I think, a couple months before they were, together. I'm pretty sure it's a month or two into the semester, so it isn't like it's the second day. I don't know. I'm going to answer the discussion questions. Where are they? Okay. I haven't looked at these either. I just noticed that they were there and was like, I'm going to answer them. 1. Is the fact that Edward can't read Bella's thoughts more important than it seems? Do you think it'll serve a larger purpose? So I've read the whole series and I know that it serves a larger purpose. I think they talk about it enough for it to seem like foreshadowing in the book. So, yes. 2. Bella faints at the smell of blood. If she were to become a vampire, how might this serve as a hindrance? How might it be an asset? So, once again, I've read the whole series. But I think, how Carlisle has, this super intense, he's very good with self-control. I think if you were to look at it as a foreshadowing element, it might also hint that she would have really good self-control. 3. Is Edward selfishly putting Bella in danger, or is Bella being too stubborn for her own good? Is it a little bit of both? What are the threatening factors facing Bella, and are there ways to avoid them? Okay, 1. Is Edward selfishly putting Bella in danger, or is Bella being too stubborn for her own good? Both, I think. I think Edward could maybe... Would it objectively be a better choice for him to just stay away from her? Yes. Would it objectively be a better choice for her to stay away from him? Yes. They're both a little bit at fault, but, I get it. They really, really like each other. They're teenagers. It's both of their first love. If you've had your first love, you know how that be. I know how that be, you think you would live and die by that person. So, I understand. And what are the threatening factors facing Bella, and are there ways to avoid them? Well, I think the biggest factor is just the, constant vague danger that she's in, because she's klutzy, and anytime she bleeds, everyone's going to want to suck her blood, so that's not really ideal. Are there ways to avoid that? Not really, I don't think. So, cheers. Temptation is a major theme in Twilight, more accurately, resisting one's temptations. Discuss the subplot of Carlisle's job as a doctor in relation to this major theme. How well does he handle temptation? What do you feel would be the most difficult part for him in his role? And why does he remain working as a doctor when the Cones don't seem to need the income? So, in my opinion, the most interesting thing about Carlisle's character is how much empathy he has. So, we see Edward in the entirety of this book, but also I think throughout the whole series, and also in most vampire series, of the vampire characters grappling with their humanity. And I think a lot of vampires always are I have no humanity and I'm a monster and blah blah blah. And Carlisle, I think, is the character that would typically be the most at risk for feeling that way. Because he grew up very religious in the 1600s, where they were literally hunting and murdering people that they thought were vampires, and all of a sudden he is a vampire. And instead of hurting anyone, he hunts off of animals and becomes a doctor. And I think it just goes to prove that within this universe, that vampires, like humans, have a tremendous amount of humanity, and they are given the choice to do good or bad things, just like people are, right? Like, I, at any point, could decide to murder someone, or I could decide to do my best every day to wake up and help as many people as I can. And they're given the same choices, but with different obstacles. So, I think it speaks a lot to that subplot and that theme of temptation. And I think he is, the polar opposite of, like, James, who James chooses to give in to that temptation like that. Like, he sees something, he wants it, he's like, mine. And Carlisle, on the other hand, is sitting here being like, I took the Hippocratic Oath, and I will do no harm. And for the most part, he, like, really, really sticks to that. So that on that. Carlisle's an interesting character. Hot take. The Coens live, act, and care for one another as a family. How much of their ability to do so is dependent on Carlisle's rule that they live in a manner that contradicts their nature. Hunting animals instead of humans. Do you think that they would be able to maintain their bond if they weren't all committed to his plan? Yes. I think it would be possible for this cast of characters to still heavily rely on each other and love each other, even if they were hunting humans. I think the choice of not drinking human blood tethers them to their humanity. Like I said, I think that is a large chunk of why all of them are so human-like, as opposed to, like, James and Laurent and Victoria, who seem a little bit less, like, traditionally civilized, I guess is how I'm gonna describe that. They're a little bit less traditionally civilized, but they still, especially Victoria and James, like, they're, like, together. And so I think that they've proven that it is possible to hunt humans and also have a really important, strong bond with another vampire. So yes, I think it's possible, and I think it could be done. Edward saves Bella on more than one occasion. Discuss the different instances and how Bella reacts before she knows what he is after. Sorry, my storage card was full. Yeah, so I think a lot of the comedy is in the, like, little bits of self-awareness that the story has. So I think that when she was writing it, Stephenie Meyer was just enough aware of how absurd some of the things she was writing are, that it's like, it's funny because it's a little bit absurd. So, like, I know that in the vlog I stopped to read the line, like, the wasting of finite resources is everyone's problem. I think that is so funny. Like, I had to, like, put the book down and laugh, because first of all, he's right, and second of all, like, who says that? And I think the comedy also comes from just the, like, will they, won't they, even though you know they will, but, like, the first, like, 200 pages of the book, they're, like, gravitating around each other, but not, like, colliding the way that we know they're going to, and I think a lot of the aspects of that are kind of funny. So yeah. What parts are romantic? I mean, it's a romance, so I would argue that pretty much all of it is romantic. Quick side note. I also love that reading a lot of, like, YA romance as an adult, I feel like you know you're an adult when you start, like, agreeing with the parents. And when you start, like, looking at the characters and you're like, you are a literal child, be better. Like, there were times where I was like, Bella, calm the fuck down, you are a 17-year-old girl. Like, when she's like, forever, I'm like, yeah, I've said that too a few times to people that I am no longer with. Calm down, take a breath. Alright, friends, that is all that I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to have a chat about anything that I mentioned in this video, go drop a comment and let's chat. Like, I am so wholeheartedly ready to talk about Twilight, so let's do it. Oh, and typical things that I always say. I post a new video every Thursday. as you may have noticed, it's Thursday. But also with bonus content on Tuesday, and the plan, fingers crossed, is to do a video every day in April. So that's 30 videos coming ahead in the next month. I'm excited. Thank you all for watching. I will see you later. Bye.